Hey there, YouTubers. This old sword back at you again with a unique unboxing and review today. A type of knife I have not reviewed yet before and yet have used fairly extensively in the past from my career in the Filipino martial arts. So you probably guessed it by now. We have a review today of the Kershaw made Lucha. It is pronounced Lucha, and it means to fight or struggle in Spanish. And there's even a wrestling style that's very popular called Lucha Libre. I won't get into that because I don't know much about it. Unfortunately, the person I got this from today, a very nice fellow by the name of Ryan over at Army Barracks, and a shout out to Ryan because he's a new subscriber. Army Barracks puts their stickers all over everything and you can't get them off, so I'm not too worried about that. The boxes only have value when I sell these things, and this is probably a keeper since for the moment it's my only Bali. Well, let's take it out and take a look. And inside the box, you do see the knife and a little rolled up set of directions, which I thought was interesting. We won't look at them, but they show you how to properly open and close the knife. So this is the Kershaw Lucha. It is a Balisong, meaning it is a three-piece knife, two handle segments, and a blade. In this case, joined by KVT bearings, or is running on KVT bearings, joined really with two pins, which I believe are T8 screws. Haven't tried it out. I'm not going to break this one down because you really don't adjust the tension on these. They run freely. In traditional Balisongs, they're pretty much running straight on the pins. Back in the day when I was buying custom Balisongs from the then Balisong company out of Burbank, California. That company now is known as Benchmade Knife Company in Oregon. There were no bearings, and there might have been some bushings, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure those pins just went straight through. And we've got a little different arrangement these days, if you know Balisongs, and I don't have another one to show you, although somewhere in the house is a practice Balisong with a dull edge. It's about a $15 knife that's been had the edge taken off and the point taken off. We call it a butter knife. This is a little different because typically what you would see is a pin, a third pin right here that would stand up and go through on both sides. That would engage in a slot in the handles and would come together like that. If the knife became such that that pin got peened into the handles, what would happen is your handles would get too close together and they'd start clacking together. The whole blade would become loose. As you can see, this is a extremely solid lockup. So we're talking pretty much about the mechanics so far. We have a nice skeletonized handle with the Balisong. The slots don't always have to go straight through. Very often there is a solid back here, but these are completely skeletonized and see-through. We have two standoffs here. One is simply holding the knife together. Actually, there's two standoffs that are holding the knife handle together. My mistake. Because we have a third pin right here that is holding the latch in place. And that's not removable unless you drift that pin out, which I thought I might do. I thought I might be taking the latch off of this, but a remarkable improvement has occurred since I bought my last Balisong, at least for this model, and that is when you are flipping the Balisong, and I guess we could say a Balisong's a flipper, right? But this is my first review that isn't some form of flipper or thumb stud knife. When you're flipping the Balisong, on the traditional Balisong and many that have come before this and many that you might buy today, this latch would keep on going to the point where it would actually hit the handle. The problem was that as you move the Balisong, the tip would keep hitting that latch, would keep whacking it as this thing is spinning around. So as the Balisong is moving, and I'm in very, very tight constraints here, but as the Balisong is moving and this flips out, that latch has a tendency to flip over and hit the blade. Worst case scenario is that it gets trapped between the handle and this latch. The worst that happens right now is that you get a little momentary stoppage there. But since the latch swings free, you can free that up pretty easily. It doesn't stay there. Anyway, beautiful knife. Can't get all the action there in the camera, but it's a large knife, so isn't exactly compact when you're flipping it in front of the camera. Having said that, let's get some specs. The blade is 14C28N. That translates to being Sandvik steel. It's a good steel choice for this level knife, which street price on these coming in around $115. I think list is about $150. Ryan gave me a good deal on this today, by the way. Thank you, Ryan. We have an overall length of 10¼ inches to the handle ends. That's large. We have a blade, if you measure it, well, we can't really measure it to the handle, so we're going to measure it to the middle of the choil area. It's I think they list this as at 4.6 inches. So we'll call it 4.6 inches. Cutting edge is 4 3/8 roughly. The style blade could be called a Weehawk because there were and still are Weehawks that are made by Benchmade. And that was a particular design by somebody way back when. I can't tell you who designed the Weehawk blade. You may know. But I'm going to call this a Bowie, basically a clip point Bowie. Nicely designed because you got the point on line. You still have a high grind for a Balisong. Balisongs are noted for their rather stick-like blade because, after all, you're fitting it into a fairly narrow handle. The handles in this case are stainless steel, making it, along with the size of the knife, fairly heavy for a Balisong. But it comes in at almost 6 ounces, 5.97. I mean, I've got other knives that are liner locks smaller than this that are 6 and 6.5 ounces. There's a Manila and a Batanga style butterfly knives. If I'm correct, the Batanga style has the back of the blade up against the handle with no latch. So we call that the safe handle. That's the one you want to be hanging on to most of the time. If you're doing tricks, you may not from time to time. But as you're spinning the knife and flipping it, if you hold on to the safe handle, you're only going to get the back of the blade against you. Some Balisongs are double-edged, and you don't want to flip them back against your hand. with some of those, you can actually choke up into the choil area here so that you're not cut, because they have a deep enough choil or a dull area, sharpening choil, what have you, in this area. We won't get into that. Let's look a little bit to the blade thickness, the blade stock on this. It isn't particularly thick. It is, well, it's 4 millimeters. Doesn't look thick. We'll call it 3.94 millimeters. We switch over here, fairly thin handles at 0.44 inches. And let's do a quick comparison. Let's come in a little closer. We have the Rat Model 1. And warning, the Lucha is going to be longer than just about anything, because I don't have anything over or at a 4-inch blade on the table. And these handles are a little extra long to give you that safety margin with the point that I was talking about earlier. We have the Griptilian, also significantly smaller. And we have the Benchmade Freak, also much smaller than the Kershaw Lucha. The blade has a very even, nice edge on it, I've noticed. No cutting test today, folks, but it is a nice, evenly ground secondary bevel on this. The Sandvik steel is stonewashed very nicely. It's a smooth stonewash. Markings on the blade. It is made in U.S.A, so we've got the flag there. Good for you, Kershaw. Kai U.S.A being the Kershaw parent company. And simply the name Kershaw on the other side. So, not a lot of real heavy billboarding. It's not bad. There is no clip on this knife. Some Balis do come with a clip. Mixed bag as to whether you'd want a clip or not. Without actually showing you or demonstrating, I will say that many people who carry a Balisong will carry it in the back pocket next to the wallet. It's enough space in your jeans or your pants pocket for it to stand up. This one's going to be a bit long. The handles on this, or closed length, is significant. We have closed pretty much a 6-inch knife. So with a clip, that would have to be way back here, and the clip is going to interfere to some degree with the manipulation of the knife. But I was pleasantly surprised with this knife, by the way, holding it in this position. You have a glass breaker / skull crusher. The latch is, again, swings free. So there's a couple of different ways you can open this. You can open it with the point down. You would pop off the latch like that, flip the blade around. I don't have the room. And hold it in that position there. Basically, that's done with a single abrupt downward motion, where you throw it down, this handle comes around, and you pick the handle back up in the hand like that. Edge will be in, which is nice for the Filipino arts that I've studied. And the other way to open the knife would be in the sock or point forward position. So nice and flat, no jimping on this style of knife. You may find some Balis with jimping on it. It's relatively smooth. I mean, it could be roughed up. You could take a file to it, and you could put some marks on there, what have you. Some people put marks on the safe handle so they can feel it rather than have to see it. But pretty much, you know where the latch is, therefore you know where the safe handle is. If you've just flipped the latch off, such as that, then you know that that is the latched handle. You might want to roll it over in order to open the knife. Okay, so the Benchmade Lucha, one final look. And again, Balisongs may or may not be your thing. Some people like to have one in the collection. This would be a great one for a collection because the value is really there. There are some very nice Balisongs by other companies bordering on custom. They're going for $250, $300, $400, $500. If you had one of the old original customs that I was collecting, they were going for about $200 to $225 at the time. I've seen those things going for $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 today because they're simply not made anymore. The blades were hand ground by Jody Sampson, who made the original Conan sword and was sword maker to the stars at the time back in the 80s, mid-80s. And the handles were hand assembled. They were hand machined. Everything on those knives was pretty much hand done, including the assembly. I would imagine these are hand assembled after the parts are machine ground, CNC'd, which is what we do these days. So here we have a really fine American Balisong. I'm thrilled by the quality of it. The bearing, some people like bushings because they don't like the handles to free swing quite so much. I think that's really makes the manipulation easy. There's just no effort. The handles are heavy. If you prefer lightweights, I believe Flytanium does make a set of 4 handle sides out of titanium. They're going to run you $145 on top of the cost of the knife. If you're really into that kind of thing and you got to do kind of a competition Balisong movements or something, or you just want a lighter set, that's probably the way to go. But that's going to take a $150 knife, add another $150 onto it. You got a $300 knife at MSRP. That's all I got for you today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. A little bit different review, a little different type of knife. Definitely worth considering, however. This Old Sword, signing off. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe. Thank you, all the subscribers out there who are appreciating the daily uploads, and they will continue, I assure you. Bye for now.